Okay, so this is the first video, finally jumping into the pool to make some advice videos. Drawing techniques. So my subject here, and I'm going to try and stick to it, is a short video about improvising drawings, at least the way I do it. So what it is it's a straight ahead drawing. And it's not pre-planned. You're not doing a pencil sketch first. You're just going straight in. In my case, I like a marker. It's a thick, chunky line. I can't get all fiddly. I have to think about the big forms when you use a big, chunky marker. Simply because you just can't draw noodly, thin, sketchy lines. So a first tip is, it's difficult enough, of course, to just draw straight ahead and have it come out looking good. But what greatly helps is if you're working with a repertoire of things that you already know to some extent. So in my case, I have this stable in my head of cartoony characters, and what I do is play variations on them. So as I go, I'll try and kind of describe my thought process. It's a bit kind of disjointed because I'm going to try and draw and talk at the same time. So here's a typical drawing I might do. I'm not even going to worry about posing it or getting too fancy with the 3D mechanics. I've seen people who can do that, and that's really very challenging, to design something, pose it, and make it work in three-dimensional space. Anyway, here I've got some, for example, bird characters. So I'll start at a point which the rest of the drawing will be dictated from. So maybe I'll draw like a beak. So I'll think about, well, what kind of beak? And what you're always trying to think of is playing variations, like as if it's 3D clay that you can manipulate before you draw it. So I might draw, let's say, this kind of beak. And I'm thinking about the expression because this is going to be effectively his mouth. So I'll put a smile. Okay, that's easy. Okay, I've got the start of a beak, so what do? Chin. I can have a big chin, small chin. If I put a line right underneath, it would make a narrow kind of character. But let's put some teeth, okay? Make it funny. And mouth a little tiny bit open, showing a bit of the tongue. And then I think, okay, am I going to just draw a clean chin or am I going to put some hair? So maybe I could do any number of infinite different things, but I'm going to draw this kind of hair. Okay, I've done that on one side. And I'm going to get back later to the other side as long as I don't forget, which can easily happen. That's his bird nostril. Now I think about the rest of the skull. And I'm always thinking about silhouettes. You're going around the outside. You have to be very careful of how you do the silhouettes. Not only for readability, but you can destroy the three-dimensional form. So let's do some eyes. And I'm going to put them close together. And I'll have just a simple, he's looking over. Then I kind of just go with things that seem to appear in my mind as I draw. And I'm thinking about it again, where I can go with the drawing, because everything you commit to paper with this kind of drawing, you're not erasing, so you can't go backward. There's only one direction forwards. And here I'm thinking about eyebrows next, because you tend to draw. Sometimes you jump over to some other part. I'll get to that later, perhaps, in this or another video. But you're always thinking about how to make it all build together and work together. So let's put some funny eyebrows. I think it would be funny if I have them go up like that. They're almost windswept. And again, you could just do endless different things. Like you could retrace over this and put different eyebrows on, which is really the thing I'm explaining. And I first saw it well explained by Roy Crane, the great cartoonist, who did Buzz Sawyer and a whole bunch of other things, Captain Easy. And he did art notes published in a thing. I think you can find some of them online on the archive.org, a magazine called Cartoonist Profiles, like files for pros. And he had made a whole bunch of sheets for his assistants. And they're just got wonderful cartooning advice. So here now I've committed to this line here, which could either be this odd bird's skull, but I think here it's the line of contact with the hat. So I'm going to put a hat on. And again, here you think of variations like I was just saying about Roy Crane. I'm just checking my video is recording properly. Yes, it is. Roy Crane is variations. So how am I going to vary this? I could do a big giant hat, like a sombrero. I could do a little tiny hat. Let's do medium. A little bit of a wobble. And then let's go back around. It's like a hat that's folded up at the back. I like to put ears on these birds. Of course, they don't have ears, but these are just bizarre creatures I draw. Barely left myself room to get his other ear in on the other side. And let's do some sideburns. That's funny. They're almost joining in. And now where do I go with that line? Well, let's put a collar. You see, this is what I'm explaining, that you just do one thing after another. Let's pull a collar in here on some kind of shirt, and then this hair is going behind. And you sort of pick up these things from observing nature, from observing reality. You want to have believability. Let's put some baggy pouches under this odd bird's eyes, and let's give him a whispery mustache. I don't know, I find that funny too, but why not? It gives him some character. Okay, so the rest of the hair, the rest of the hat. What kind of hat here? Again, I could do endless variations. It could be a big giant hat, it could be floppy, it could be short. Let's do something here. And what I'm going to try and do is, you see where my line's going here, the hat should line in with his head as if it's actually fitting on whatever's skull. So if I made it come out here, I'd have a big problem. So here it looks like his skull would be there, so let's make it join. And that's like a fold, you know. And here's like a version of a very tall hat band. Do we want something fun like a feather in his hat? Okay. All right. And you're looking for things that are character. I'm always trying to think of new things because I find I repeat things after a while. So here I'm trying to think of new things. Okay, so, and there's endless more things to be done on that. I talked about the hair on the other side. So here I'm trying to think of the three-dimensional form under his chin, as if it was a volume. And you might see a little bit of it coming down here on the other side, and that gives depth. Let's even have it showing right there. Okay, so now, usually I just draw these standing, because as I said, I could have them doing something, but here I'm just inventing a character. And again, like what kind of coat? I'm going to make this easier so that this video isn't super long. I'm going to make like a longer coat with no belt and have it sort of flare out. I'm thinking about the join here. You could get into what kind of buttons you're going to have. Pull lines from some of the buttons, each one a little bit different, because that's what you see in nature, that things vary. And an easy cheat is I'm going to put the hand, his bird hand, in his pocket. And my fellow cartoonists will forgive me because it's like when you don't draw the feet, you're avoiding the problem of drawing all the fingers, and it's quicker. But sometimes it's more interesting. You'll notice here I'm drawing the silhouettes first of most of the forms. I'm not going inside on purpose, because if you get all the different silhouettes of the major forms and the shapes as they appear from one angle and the lines, but on the outsides, which are the silhouettes, that's much more efficient, and you can have a greater chance of staying on course. Because of course, with this type of drawing, if you make too big an error, well, it doesn't look good, and you either just finish it knowing that it looks crappy, or you stop it and crumple it and toss it across the room in semi-rage and start again. I might go back in and put a bit more here, but you find that the more detail you put inside the forms, you have to be very careful, because the more you go inside and put clutter, your eye gets pulled in outside of the silhouettes, and then our eyes work by reading the major outlines of forms. So if you clutter the insides too much and lose the legibility of the outside big silhouette shapes of the major whole silhouette around the figure, And then the more minor silhouettes of each part, if you go inside too much, you can actually damage the readability and just clutter the hell out of it. And believe me, I've done that enough times. Anyway, let's finish this. Here's his coat. And then I'm thinking about maybe there's some wrinkles down here because his arm's pulled back. So you're going the other way because there's like a pull. I'll maybe, even though I haven't done the feet, I'll do a bit more here. There's a pull from the shoulder and maybe a compression wrinkle there. And it's pulling from the crease. The crease is making it go that way. I'll add some buttons here. And let's just finish this up. I could affect the way he looks by choosing different things with his feet. So at least I want him stable and standing. And let's go like this. Maybe his feet are fairly wide apart. And I'm balancing these as I go. I know that the pull lines will be coming up down from his waist, particularly because his feet are wide apart. And then it's like another thing about variations, what kind of footwear? Let's put some kind of boots on him. And I like on these birds to make their almost beak-like shoes often, as if they have these odd long feet, bird feet inside, even though they're not really birds, they're just bizarre creatures that I started drawing for fun. Really, you have to just give yourself permission with any of this to just have fun. Draw what you like. And yeah, have fun with it. I'm trying to always think, though, in the style I like, is I do want three-dimensional form. So I'm trying to observe real perspective and real structure and form. Anyway, here's this guy standing here. I mean, I could go on a lot more, which I'm not going to because this is already 10 or 15 minutes. What am I at? What am I at, people? 12 minutes. I want to keep these fairly short. I've got lots more to say, but I'll make more videos. So listen, for anybody who has watched this, you know the deal everybody says. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Particularly if you like this and feel that it was useful and want more comment, because, yeah, I've got a lot more to say. All right. Keep drawing, have fun, and bye for now.